In a town called Hamlin in northern Germany, a stained glass window, made in the year 1300 and kept until the 17th century in the market church, depicts an event where children were in danger. A more chilling documentation from the town's chronicle in the year 1384 needs it's 100 years since our children left. This is the account of the Pied Piper, named after his face fanciful or pied clothing, and the silver pipe played. According to the legend, as well as several personal written accounts, the man lured the children to never be seen again. One documentation from a Lunenburg town chronicle from 1430 to 1450 reads, "Here follows of marvelous wonder which transpired in the town of Hamlin and in the diocese of Minden, the year of our Lord 1284, in the feast of Saint John's and Paul. A certain young man, 30 years of age, handsome and well dressed, so that whoever saw him admired him because of his appearance, crosses the bridges and entered to a town by the west gate. He then began to play all through the town a silver pipe of the magnificent sort. All the children who had heard his pipe, in the number of 130, followed him to the east gate and out of the town to so-called execution place or Calvary, where they proceeded to vanish, so that no trace of them could ever be found. The mothers of the children ran into town, but they found nothing. It is written that a voice, heard from high, and a mother was bewailing her son. However, several other documents from the surrounding areas spoke of the event, nearly 3 centuries since its intentional incident. People surrounding the town's Germany feared in the return. A chronicle of the town Bamberg in 1553 reads, "There is also a mountain which lies approximately a rifle shot away from this town, called Calvary, and the townspeople say that 1283 a man was seen, possibly a musician, wearing a clothing of many colors and possessing a pipe, which they played in the town, whereupon the children in the town ran out as far as the mountain, and they had all disappeared into it. Only 2 children returned home, and they were naked. One was blind and the other was mute. But when the woman begged to look for their children, the man said to them that he would come again in 300 years and take more children. 130 children had been lost, and the people of this place were afraid that some man would come again in 1583. The number of children, persists the names of the areas, all match something very rare for a history, especially in Europe in that time. For most Europeans in those centuries, estimation and near guesses follow particular superstitions, just wives' tales and folksy legends. However, it's not the case this time. Making careful note in the years of the children chronicles and several for different towns, they seem to have been counting down to 300, carefully documenting the awaiting fear of his return. The last known place where the children were seen is called Bungee Lucen Stress, or Street Without Drums, and even to this day, no one is allowed to play music or dance there, possibly to mourn the lost souls of the children, perhaps to keep an ear out. We all know that the Pied Piper is a fairy tale, a moral story meant to scare people straight. As the story goes, the Pied Piper was a rat catcher who charmed the rat plague out of the city, and he took the children away. The townspeople refused his payment. Funny thing is that no historical documents of the incident were by any mention of rats or payment until the middle of the 16th century, when it was introduced as a theory for the cause of the behind of the abductions. The theory arose out of the idea that maybe he had to rid them because of the Black Plague, and that it could be a nice theory if the plague had been not around in the 13th century. It wasn't. Not until over a century later would a plague have been remotely dangerous to a little town of Hamlin. One has to wonder how much of fairy tales we were told as children are truth. And that was the Pied Piper, my pretties. The fairy tale creepypasta. My final thoughts on the story? Well, I could definitely say this is actually like a really dark, messed up fury to, well, the Pied Piper story. Now, this is basically based on the fairy tale, but except in this one, though, this is like the more, basically the origin and backstory behind it. So, yeah, I honestly did not even know about this, but I decided to, take it as, this looks like to be an interesting concept. So, I mean, I could definitely see, why the story of, the Pied Piper was, changed. Because, we all know now this is, one of the pretty disturbing backstories of the Pied Piper fairy tale story, which is why we know it's, child friendly, but this is basically the origins of it. I mean, it's really messed up and dark in many ways, but it's still a pretty good story. The grammar was good as well as the sentence structuring, and there's definitely a lot of time and effort into that story, as well as how well, the concept seems to be. I mean, I do wish there was a little bit more added to it, but that might be just me, but I obviously really found this to be enjoyable. Now, I still can't find out who the original author of the story is, so I'm gonna leave it as anonymous until I find out who the original author of the story is. But I definitely have to say, I do remember Hooveran from Shetland narrated this story, and I honestly have to say it's pretty disturbing, but it's still pretty good for how well made this pasta is. So I really have to say it's a pretty good backstory behind the Pied Piper story, which I mean, it's pretty messed up, not gonna lie, but it's still pretty good for a concept of a creepypasta like this. So I definitely have to say it's pretty good though. With that being the case and with that being said, I still find this story to be, enjoyable. It's pretty good, and I honestly really found it to be a pretty good story as well as, the whole concept of it. I honestly really like this. So, anyways, I guess with that being the case and with that being said, I'm just gonna say this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story is definitely a 10 out of 10. I mean, it's a great creepypasta. It's definitely well made in detail. There's definitely a lot of time and effort into it, and I personally thought it was pretty neat. So, I guess with that being the case, and with that being said, what did you guys think about this story? Did you enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.